Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's up, everybody? It is Saturday, July 27th, 2024. You do not have to adjust your YouTube notifications. I did not post yesterday. Yesterday I was tied up in a hair wash day with my son, and man, it's a full day commitment and also a full body workout. So I did not get done until really late, and I was tired, I was spent. So I said that I would either come on and do 2 messages today, which the second one, this being the first, probably wouldn't be until late night tonight, or I would come on Sunday and do a message. But yeah, in case you were looking for me, that's where I was, elbow deep in hair. So here we are. Hope you're having a great weekend. Hope your Friday was amazing. I did miss coming on. I tried to make it work, but I had an unexpected maintenance call earlier that day that kind of threw everything off schedule, and it was just one thing led to the other, and before you knew it, like I said, I started the project later than I wanted to, meaning his hair, because yes, it is a project, and it ended much later than I anticipated. So anyway, thank you for being here right now. Appreciate you. Let's see what we got today. 2 of Wands. Okay, this is some plan to expand. We're looking forward to the future expansion, future exploration. Could be a decision that's been made to act or to move in a certain direction. Definitely like a sure decision made. Let's see what we got here. Oh, wow. The 5 of Cups, but I almost saw this before that. This was almost kind of hidden, which is interesting to me. The film on the cards is kind of sticking up a little bit, so they stick a little sometimes. But, is this someone moving? The 5 of Cups is like grief, shame, despair, guilt, certainly sadness, very dense energy, but then you have the Ace of Swords. So is it something that's being revealed about a plan that is causing despair? And with the High Priestess, maybe it was hidden before. Oh, wow, with the 4 of Pentacles, 4 of Swords. Hold on, let me see here. It's just the order of the cards, but like I said, this kind of wanted to peek out first, and this was, I guess, maybe behind the scenes. So what does that mean? That somebody had a plan of action determined without knowing all of maybe there was a blind spot or some hidden details about that plan that perhaps weren't revealed until after they took the action, and then that's what the 5 of Cups comes from. Yeah, some hidden details here or some hidden revelation that puts someone in despair, or the 2 of Wands, the 5 of Cups. or this could be the impact that a plant had. I don't know. That's throwing me, but let's see. Then we have the Four of Wands. I'm sorry. Wow, we got the okay, I'm definitely going to take him. The Four of Swords, and then the King of Swords. And then the Ace of Wands. Okay. So, the Two of Wands. Now that we got the Ace of Wands on the bottom, maybe this was somebody's long view perspective, or their long-term, well, I can't even say long-term, but somebody had a projection to obtain power here. And they had a plan in which this is like action. So they had some type of plan set in motion or in order to have this ultimate achievement here. This could be an upgrade of power, and it could be inspiration, new creativity. It really is of a high, like a supernatural empowerment though. This is not the type of energy that you just stumble upon. You know, there's usually some meritable earning, meaning earned by merit. I don't even know if that's a word. Merited earning, maybe, that would afford you access to power on this level, right? But somebody had their plan in mind to obtain it, but it's like they either missed some steps or missed some hidden terms or information, some details, something, or the way in which, you know, they had their plan, and then the way in which it was revealed that they would need to, let's say the high priestess is like a sanctification, like setting yourself apart, you know, the process of earning the merit. Let's say that that's what that represents. Once that was revealed, that kind of made another person's plans or original plans null and void. Perhaps that's the reason for the despair here, because they may have spent a great deal of energy drafting these plans and even pursuing these efforts, only to find out that there is a different way to achieve their goal. And for me, it feels like it's a way in which someone may not be happy to learn or to face with the Five of Cups. It's like, I don't want to get it that way. You know, they want to have it their way. But this is the path. So then we got the King of Swords and the Four of Swords. Now the Four of Swords is some type of recovery, rest, rejuvenation, that it's like, it feels, in essence, it's promising to some degree, because if we look at it from the perspective that I'm seeing it now, the Four of Swords is kind of like a surrender, you know, to exactly what I'm saying, to someone that would need to kind of like fall on their own sword of truth, you know, commit to the process of merit, as I'm saying, like go the way of truth and clarity and honesty, devotion, sanctification, you know, whatever it is, to then become this King of Swords, which feels like the evolved specimen of this energy here. So that part alone would make me feel like, okay, well, somebody, came to terms with the fact that this isn't Burger King, like the divine is not a Burger King drive-through window, and that there are levels to this, and they submitted themselves to that process. Whereas opposed to here, they wanted to kind of just pull up, place their order, and be on their merry little way. It feels like perhaps someone seeing the greatest value in this Ace of Wands and honestly, the Four of Swords could be like a laid to rest type of energy where someone kind of had no choice but to surrender. When it all comes down to it, though, if someone can come to the King of Swords in the most upright, it really doesn't too much matter how they got there, I would say, because that would be the ultimate goal, to be operating in the fullness of your truth, to be honest, honorable, upright, to have vision, to be operable in whatever your expertise may be, your expert aptitude may be, maybe even talent, or I don't know, something good stuff is what I'm seeing here. But it just didn't start out great. So let's see. But here is the Ace of Wands, which is a double confirmation. And again, this is earning power by merit. So let's see what else we got here. And we got the Page of Cups, though. I'm gonna move him over. This might be a bit out the frame when I crop it, but for now I'll try to keep it in. I don't know. What's the Page of Cups here about? The Star. The Star, that's healing. So this could be someone that, surrendered to their own healing and started to give to themselves. Oh, let's turn over this bottom card. Maybe started to heal their inner child. Page of Cups. That could be what that is. And again, that would be part of the process, certainly almost like the initiation of the process. So maybe this is just confirming, like, no, we might got a live one here. We might got a good one that, it's so rare, when the energy starts off a certain way that it comes full circle, especially just in the first couple of cards, but maybe this is a good confirmation. Let's see what else we got. But ultimately, I'm seeing an offering that could have been made to heal one's inner child, so which means that they made the offer to themselves. And there's 2 cups, so there's a synergy there that somebody's taken a great deal of time to really prioritize their emotional healing. And it does give that it may just be perhaps it's the King of Swords, because they finally accepted the truth of what is necessary for them to submit to whatever this path of merit may be. And it's realized that the starting point is through their emotional well-being. But that's a powerful stance to make, even as an initiation, especially with the King of Swords being a bit foreign to water energy. You know, this is emotional, and the King of Swords is more cerebral. So it's the beginning stages of that healing. But if this is correct, and this is a progression, not a regression, which I hope, then it means that somebody is getting to the root cause of their inflictions, and they're advancing in that treatment. So maybe somebody could be in therapy, and this could be like generally masculine energies that just have been conditioned and well, again, it could be masculine or feminine, but that there's been a certain conditioning to pursue creativity, right? Inspiration, a very distinct way that ultimately doesn't lead to fulfillment. Here with the Five of Cups, the way we've been conditioned to pursue it often leaves passion in general, often leaves us feeling very unfulfilled at the Five of Cups, until one day we have an awakening and realize like the sanctity of our spiritual identity, whatever that is uniquely, and then begin to almost like surrender or submit to that truth. Coming to the King of Swords, which is the proactive approach, like the activator of that truth in the physical form. This is like the revelation in the spirit that's almost been like, I would say like channeled, or even telepathically, or some type of like emotion, like through emotional intelligence, you being keen to ultimately what your pitfalls may have been and what voids there have been to connect you with this Ace of Wands desire. What's truly been coveted by way of that Ace of Wands. Helping you to kind of like reform your plans and your outlook, your perspective, to see ultimately how you can work smarter and not harder. Because as easy come, easy go as this energy can be on the count of our innate conditioning, it often doesn't lead to the most desirable results. And so then coming to terms with this this effort, you know, of which is more or less hidden. You know, it's not something that we come into this world knowing of ourselves, at least not many of us up until this point, unless you have a certain type of parents. But many of us are becoming those certain type of parents more and more every day, to then train up our children to have less of a learning curve to navigate, you know, not having to kind of backtrack and figure out like, okay, well, where was I misled? Where was I misinformed or misguided or misdirected? And not necessarily all in a bad way, or not all with malicious intent, but certainly, as I said, just kind of like the casualty of being an inhabitant of this world, you know, that it kind of has happened automatically. And so now, as I said, coming to terms with the spiritual nature of yourself, which has always existed, but maybe it's been a little secretive, a little hidden, a bit obscured, a bit mystical. And in that case, sometimes with interference or intentions that were interference, with interferences that were intentional, I should say, resorting to rest and rejuvenation from that infliction or from whatever the void may have been of between you and the acceptance of that almost supernatural, or certainly at least spiritual revelation of yourself. And now not just the acceptance, but also having the faculty to assert it as well. This is like a bold I am, where your mind, your ideas about yourself are reshaped. The words that you speak about yourself and your surroundings are purified, very intentional. You are in some ways almost tunnel vision in the culmination of those faculties, your thoughts, your communication, your words, toward back to square one, that desirable outcome, which is ultimately to be accessible to or a conduit of supreme power, when it pertains to you specifically, not omnipotence over all creation, but to have a self-control, awareness, and assertiveness over the life that you create, in real time. And all of this is what ultimately leads to that. And here is more or less the initiation that it feels like some, if not many, or if this has already occurred, submitted themselves to. And that's what has made cleared the roadway for this access or to obtain that desirable power. Maybe even so, to not so much to obtain it, but then to also flex it and assert it. Let's see what else we got. I know that probably was hella confusing, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. Pardon me. Then we got the Four of Cups. Rejection, missed opportunity. What's being rejected here? After I done said all that good stuff, we going backwards? Oh, maybe rejecting these third-party situations that have more or less proven themselves to be distractions, because that's what the Three of Pentacles has been showing up as lately, is like really like the distraction of camaraderie for camaraderie's sake, to feel included, to feel cool, like as primitive as that sounds, to feel empowered in numbers, to feel comforted, even to not feel alone. A lot of the resistance of this path, where I said it's about sanctity, is literally setting yourself apart from the status quo, from the conditionings that you are, you have been a product of, from your upbringing, which may be conflicting with the revelation that you come to about yourself, is the fear of being isolated or missing out on what everybody else is doing, or missing an opportunity to do something that, you know, you might feel is fun, you know, at least in the moment, for a delayed gratification, you know, or what seems to be, at least at the time. So in this case, let's see what's at the bottom though. Yeah, okay, the Six of Wands, I like that. So maybe, I don't know if we're talking about what has been though, or what is happening. Maybe it could be a little bit of both, of course, in waves, where some people, this is how some have attained that ultimate power in their lives, or the access to it, by way of kind of setting themselves apart and, you know, rejecting the temptation to go along to get along, you know, to have that immediate gratification of communities at times, or support in the ways that make you feel stable, like they give you that, you know, a sense of security that is comforting, but that ultimately doesn't fulfill one holistically. But here is saying that somebody, you know, some have taken that leap or are willing to, and the guarantee is victory and success with the Six of Wands. I mean, they're really, like, when you're taking this journey for all the right reasons, not with any ulterior motive, not to fake it till you make it, to look like, you know, you're on a spiritual journey, on a spiritual mission, but really you just like how it sounds, or you think, you know, you think there's some pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, you know what I mean? Like, if it's not authentic and pure, you'll probably take the scenic route. It may take you a little bit longer to get to this point here. But for those that are committed to it honorably, with the Ace of Swords and then with the King of Swords, like, there's an honesty and an honor and authenticity in their actions and in their commitment. This is inevitable, to find yourself somehow raised above the fray of. Behind here is the Five of Wands, that competitive nature and spirit, where you get swept into the current of, again, our conditioning that makes you feel like you got to compete for everything. It's you against the world, and there's not enough to go around. It's survival mode and survive, you know, all this stuff that kind of puts you in fight or flight, in a fight or flight spirit, which does kind of deter you from the sweetness of spiritual satisfaction, because you're doing it simply on account of your own mortality, you know. Yeah, like, you live above that. You move above that. Your mind, your spirit, your actions, your inspiration, the things that drive you, all becomes raised and elevated as high as ultimately you allow yourself to ascend at that point. Once you realize that there is really no plateau, there is no finish line, there is no end point, you know, like, it just is more or less an eternal commitment to evolution. That becomes the victory and the success. And with that, you only find yourself continuing to supersede yourself at every level, because that's the only way possible when you're committed to yourself in this regard. Interesting. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh. Wow, we got this. This literally flipped over in reverse on my knee. The Knight of Wands, yeah, like, done with the impulsive actions, moving out of lust, again, out of survival, fear, being provoked to react and respond without wisdom, Big on the lust factor too here, and the lack of self-control. There it is, the lack of self-control. No, this is someone going in the opposite direction for that ace. Wow, for that ace of wands, not the knight of wands. That's the complete antithesis of the ace, where someone is literally living off the seat of their pants. And whatever impulses arise, they follow them, no matter what the cost or casualty may be, even to themselves. You know, this is like a reformed F-boy here. Someone on their way to King of Wands status. Maybe has laid this energy to rest, as a matter of fact, and is, you know, transitioning or already transitioned into a King of Wands energy, where someone has, wow, so this is like, speaking of really some accelerated, it seems accelerated now, maybe just because there's only but so many cards and so much space, but just in a way is laying out here. It's like someone that was at the Two of Wands, then moved on into the King of Swords, evolved from the Page of Cups to the Knight of Cups, and star energy, which means that, especially in the energy of the King of Swords, they at least have a solid perspective of what they aspire to be. Even if, you know, of course, like I said, there is no ultimate end point or end result, but there's a pure aspiration here, where someone is willing to at least refuse the things that conflict with that, or that are not in alignment with that identity. And now here we are overturning the Knight of Wands, which is really, really hard to do for anybody, because that's your sensationalism, you know. Even in the upright, it's like the King of Wands is here for a good time. Sometimes not a long time, but certainly a seeker of good times. So for someone to kind of like sacrifice that nature of themselves is really, and now we're looking at the Empress. What's on the bottom? Wow, there's somebody that has, somebody's idea of fulfillment has completely graduated and evolved. Their idea of the perfect woman, their ideas about family, you know, because this isn't just the Queen of Wands, which would be a reasonable, you know, given I'm saying that this could be somebody as like the King of Wands that is no longer, he's grown up, you know. But this isn't just the Queen of Wands, this is the Empress, like the ultimate feminine force within the courts, you know, within the court cards. Like somebody that has maybe even evolved a great deal of respect for femininity, even within themselves, could be that as well. But that had, and in that regard, it brings it back to the idea that this does not have to be masculine exclusive. Just hear me through the labels, that when I'm saying masculine or feminine, it could very well be speaking to the masculine energy in you that was immature and lustful and impulsive, which we all have these sides of ourselves, you know, but certainly take it as it resonates, because whatever the case may be, this is someone that is evolving day by day, or has evolved in a great in a great progression of time to elevate their identity and also their self-esteem, like somebody that perhaps has learned to see the highest value in themselves. So whether or not the Empress is an object of affection, outside of themselves, or is literally the aspiration of someone from the inside out. This is someone that has learned to hold that image upright, to hold that aspiration as the ultimate or the optimum, because they know that there's a greater benefit and reward from it. And not just, I don't get the sense that it's just like I said, it's like, it's different if, you want to be the empress or the emperor because you think it's the money grab or the money spot, because you'll find out very quickly that there's a great deal of responsibility that comes along with that position. As they say, heavy is the head that wears the crown. I don't necessarily subscribe to that phrase, myself, but it's a thought. It certainly is no cakewalk to get to the point of supremacy as the empress holds, in that position, to be infinitely creative and fertile. It's not just fun to give life to things and manifest, because it can be, but you also, which maybe someone is matured here to realize that then you actually have the responsibility to nurture those things, to watch them grow, to be dedicated to the preservation of those things, whatever we're talking about, people, places, or things, because this could also be, of course, the mother energy between the empress and the emperor, that with the 10 of Pentacles could have a lot of kids or a lot of creations, a lot of things to be accountable for, and certainly this is good accountability and good responsibility that is rewarding with the 10 of Pentacles, but still it's engaging nonetheless. And you kind of have to be in the spirit of the empress that more or less takes pride and pleasure in her creative prowess, or power, I guess, her creative power to covet all aspects of it. The empress is taken care of and has wealth and has riches and probably has support and help and maybe even servants, meaning really support and help. Implied to even have a partner with the emperor, but all of that takes a great deal of dedication. It's like really no days off, even though she sits pretty, you know what I mean? So it's somebody that has learned to find the value and the fun in their position of power and the responsibilities that come with it. Not forsaking the fun at all, but finding the value in every aspect and not taking any of it lightly, which, the Knight of Wands in reverse signifies. And there's a great reward for that. There's a great reward, or great potential, great prospects, I'll say. All right, let's see, a couple more on the board. I might do a few more on the bottom if I don't run my time down too much. This is 2. Do I want to take these? Not really. But this is community, like community sharing, equal give and take. And then this is the Knight of Pentacles, which could be also a gift, could be a gift. So it could be something that's been gradually unfolding toward that. Maybe that's the confirmation toward that 10 of Pentacles, but it has great promise. Because one thing about it is the Knight of Pentacles is going to get where he's going. he doesn't mind taking his time, dotting all his I's, crossing his T's, because he knows the greater value at stake and at hand, that other people are depending on what he's bringing to the table, what he has to offer. So yeah, this could be some type of like confirmation of that, like on that 10 of Pentacles, that it may not necessarily be an overnight delight, but it will be a great reward that I would say, if you're already in the commitment of this pathway, you will begin to perceive enough of that ideal of the 10 of Pentacles that you wouldn't need to possess it all at once. It's just the sheer joy of knowing that you're on the right track, you're doing the right things, and maybe even the small, with that 6 of Pentacles, like the small increments of like payment or disbursement along the way would be gratifying enough to sustain you for the duration of that journey, you know, for the long haul. Yeah, something like that. Like I said, really getting, because this is like fast action with the Knight of Wands, but this is someone that really is getting comfortable in long-term projection. Not the immediate results, the immediate gratification, or I've been doing this for so long and where's my, you know, it's like, it's coming with the 6 of Pentacles. It's saying that you'll be paid all along the way, but this full, you know, scope of prosperity, as in the 10 of Pentacles, that is inevitable, is what's happening through all those smaller steps, you know, with each step along the pathway. But it's certainly like, if that ain't enough of a carrot to dangle, I don't know what is. That it's like it's happening nonetheless, as long as you keep going. Stay committed. Here's the Lovers. That's too many cards though. Yeah. To your supreme self. Stay in integrity and truth and honor of what you discovered in that revelation. Oh, this came back out. That's crazy. Yeah, it's like it's every day is payday when you're on that time. Every day is payday, because you know that every single thing that you do has value. It's affecting something or someone seen and unseen. Wow, and here's the good old Queen of Wands. Everything that you do, every which way you wield your creativity is valuable. It's not only self-rewarding, but it has a major impact on the community that you serve, or the collective that you serve. Again, seen or unseen, because some of us haven't even really connected with our so-called soul tribe yet. We haven't even really begun to establish family, you know, truly, certainly, you know, or we felt like we haven't really begun to establish that family legacy that the 10 of Pentacles, but maybe I'm correcting myself in this moment, that the initiation of this path is the starting point. Like, you have already begun. Even the initiation itself has been highly effective in establishing a foundation on which the future gets to stand firm. Yeah, so yeah, we got the Queen of Wands here. That, what's on the bottom? The 3 of, yeah, the expectation to always be, because of this initiation of plan, like the rerouting that you allowed to take place when you realize, this way doesn't really work. There's got to be some other way to obtain this vision of creativity that I have in mind. You know, it may not work in the small world way that we've been conditioned to, but there's a more expansive view that, you know, doesn't lead to guilt and shame as I've been conditioned to believe it does, or that perhaps at first, like I started initially, is a bit of, you know, bit of a downside, because you're like, damn, so this ain't it? You mean to tell me I gotta go another way? Like, all right, fine. And then here you go. And here you are, waiting for your ships to come in, or really just always expecting. It's like if you're the Empress or even the Queen of Wands and you have a kingdom that sets on a port, you always expecting a shipment for some cargo to be coming into port, bringing goods from foreign lands or goods from, you know what I mean? Like, it's like I mean, how else really, well, I guess it could be self-sustainable to a great degree, so there's that. But even still, you know, generally, I don't know any country really that doesn't thrive on some import or export or another, whether it be exporting their goods for exchange or importing goods that are needed. So there's always an expectation to have what you need and what you want, because you say so, pretty much, and you've earned the authority to command. This is like almost the command in your energetic field, like the how can I say, like your command. This is really like a depiction of magneticism in your auric field, like your energetic force field is always in the position of expectation for reception. Why not? Why wouldn't it be? When you've more or less like filtered your frequency to be magnetic, there wouldn't be any reason, there wouldn't be any other cause for lack or for fear of, you know, of not being attractive or not attracting in what it is that you need and want, because that's what the Queen of Wands does, and she does it with confidence. And even with in the Empress energy, I feel like it's just kind of like double down, and because I talk so much about it's not the Queen of Wands, but the core of her is the Queen of Wands, already kind of wielding that power of the Ace of Wands to some degree, or having access to it for sure. This is again yet another stage of evolution here, already implied by the Empress, who embodies all the queens, but I feel like doubly affirmed, maybe again in that assertiveness of the power that's already possessed, and seeing it in action, having, you know, reasonable receipts of its effectiveness. I think that was the Lovers again. Let me see. Yep, the Lovers. Once again, that commitment to supreme self. Damn, now we got the Queen of Swords out here. Oh my goodness. What? She about to fall off the table, the Queen of Pentacles. In case you didn't see that, that's who that was. The Queen of Pentacles, because I know it gets a bit dark over here. The Queen of Pentacles. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Only thing missing is the Queen of Cups. And the Page of Wands, some new exploration, new discovery, good news altogether. It just keeps getting better here with the Empress. What does this mean though? Because I've been jumping back and forth between first the ideal of this masculine coming to terms with themselves, right? Reforming the F-boy in them. Of course, again, your masculine energy could be that as well. But why the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles and Swords after the Empress? What are we saying here? Oh, so this is like the offspring. Oh, that Ten of Pentacles. This is like giving way, ooh, for like oh my goodness, for a new dynasty of like extraordinary, I'm just gonna say women, but it's about extraordinary feminine power. So that when I was saying like what you're doing is laying the foundation, it is laying the groundwork, it's making it possible for there to be an establishment of a kingdom beyond you. This is what it's like, oh my goodness, it's literally birthing or rebirthing, I don't know, a nation of royalty. And that can happen practically in the sense that as you emerge in your rightful position of power, there it is. The Ace of Pentacles is like divine inspiration. This Six of Pentacles is almost like, it's like the currency of creativity here that inspires the confidence and security in others. Maybe even because you actually do have the resources and the support system to materially invest in others that need it, or that are in the place to receive it. And that spiritually and energetically, again, shaves the learning curve from maybe what you may have had to have done the long way, trial and error, coming to the correct path. But what it does, because you've reached a certain capacity or magnitude of power and influence as the Empress, you literally give birth by way of inspiration, perhaps even actually physically by way of support and creating opportunities and facilitating outlets and whatever it is that you build, okay? Because this could be actually practically so, or this could even be through your creativity. It's what ultimately becomes like the conception of creation, the creation of feminine force on a supreme level, like elevated, like almost literally giving birth to kings and queens. Let's just say generally speaking, but literally giving birth to kings and queens. You know how it is, like look, like with the exactly, good news, right? People coming here already, and I kind of slightly alluded to that when I said, your conditioning is what it is, that you kind of have to backtrack and break out from, heal from, so on and so forth, unless you were born to a certain parents, you know, which, and I said some of us are becoming those parents, but many of us just are not, because we didn't have those types of parents. We had parents that did the best that they could with what they had and what they knew, and to some degree we were on trajectory to be the same until we made this pivot and initiated this new path that was different from what we knew, what we were told, where we were directed, the road less traveled for most of us. And it's like, what I was going to say is like, when you have a royal family that gives birth to children, it doesn't matter, like whether it's the next heir to the throne or the second, third princess, second, third, fourth, fifth prince, whatever the case may be, royal blood is royal blood. And the only thing that, I mean, many of us have already been royal and have had to come to that realization, right? Because we were conditioned to believe we were otherwise. But once there is a knowing, a revelation, and an acceptance and assertion of that power, it's all that you give life to, and everything you do. Again, whether it's in the things that you create, the people that you inspire, just the simple way you live your life is regal, because that's what you produce as the Empress. And again, masculine or feminine, I think it's specifically the Empress here to really double down on the idea of conception and birth, you know, bringing things to life. And so that's what we have here, is not just, these are not replicas, you know, like cookie cutter images. These are regal creators, life givers in their own right, that come with a royal title, like a regal tag or something. Like, I don't know how to say it. It's like when you're a divine child or you're a royal child, that's what you are. It really doesn't even matter. You become the duchess or the princess of something, some territory or another, or either way, just by association, you are what? Set apart, sanctified, exalted as something special. The opposite of what we've been taught to feel about ourselves. Back to that 5 of Wands behind that 6 of Wands, we've been taught to fight for the few spots that are left. Here it's like there's more than enough thrones for as many queens and kings that are willing and able to sit in them, to be appointed to them. And when you're born, it's like, in this energy, like I said, everything you give life to then has this DNA, like has this, I don't even know what to call it. Like, I guess it's anointing, you know, in a spiritual sense, but it's practically speaking as I can possibly make it, because I don't even know if I'm giving this what it really deserves. But it's exciting to me to know that your decision to exalt yourself, especially in any ethereal or spiritual way, is what changes the DNA makeup and really is the preservation of a dynasty. That's what it comes down to. Because back to that 10 of Pentacles, it's like everything you give life to then gives life in that same regard. Like, these are now women that can carry their own legacies, start their own, or carry on that divine dynasty, whatever it may be, and their children's children, and their children's children, and so on and so forth. But it's always in this spirit of like really service to creation. With the 6 of Pentacles is what I'm getting here, that whatever it is done with that ideal You know, the origination of the Empress, who always has the mind to heal and to nurture in mind. It's ingrained in you. So like I was saying before, like, unless you had certain parents, you had a certain, you know, a different track. But to be born into a dynasty of which your caregivers, your parents know themselves, they know who they are, and they're also committed to continuing to evolve, you've already more or less been exalted as the offspring of that legacy, because you will know nothing different. You won't know anything different than what's been ingrained in you, despite what the world would try to project otherwise. And that changes the future of creation and evolves it supremely. That's probably where I was seeing the longevity, like when it was the Six of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles, because it's like, no matter what, it happens. Even if it takes another century or so to do so, it will sustain itself, back to that idea, but it also will populate or populate really the world in a different way as well, because that's an elevated frequency of humanity that is ultimately begetting that same frequency, if not higher, because ideally it would even be more exalted beyond that, hopefully, and not depreciate. But that's what ultimately, that slow progression with the Knight of Pentacles is that the idea that it may happen seemingly gradually, but it will undoubtedly happen, because like I said, the Page of Pentacles is going to make sure of it, because he's committed to the long-term dedication and discipline to see whatever he sets his mind to through. So what a hope for the future, just on account of you being a yes to yourself, to spiritual supremacy here. That might be a hard term to swallow right now, because it might seem a little blasphemous, but I submit to it. To you being in the highest integrity of your spiritual nature, embodied through your human faculties. That's the ticket here. And to assert that, like you own it, like you have the right and authority to do so, that's the ticket. That's the ticket that ultimately also transports creation into a highly evolved state of being. Even if it's one family, one couple, the lovers came up a couple times, I think, yeah. One couple at a time, one child at a time, one idea at a time, one business at a time. Whatever it is, if it's coming from you in this elevated state of mind and exalted presence, it is adding great value to creation. Don't you think a second that it's not. It may seem menial, it may seem small, but its impact is massive. So all that to get to that, let's just see what's on the bottom. Yeah, this is spiritual. This is the fulfillment here. This is the fulfillment here with the Nine of Cups. Wish fulfillment, but also spiritual fulfillment. And to me, I sometimes read this as like very high self-esteem that is not contingent upon material possessions or measurement. This is being pleased with yourself, with who you are when you get up in the morning, when you look yourself in the mirror at the end of a long day. What have you done throughout that day? How have you expelled your raw, untapped energy, your most supreme life force, your most delicate life force into the world what has it done for you and for anything and anyone beyond you? And are you pleased about that impression? That's ultimately what keeps your fuel going to continue on whatever path is designed for you, which again ultimately leads to all of this goodness here in some way, shape, or form. Because as long as you're doing something in the world that's something worth being proud of and that has an intention beyond simply serving yourself and acquiring three-dimensional physical formalities, of esteem, then it has to make an impression. It's just the law of the universe. I mean, if the opposite does, then certainly the best of you must, So, wow, like, I don't know, like, I feel so inspired by this message in ways that I don't even feel like I've done it justice, honestly. But I would even say, like, the emphasis on what you're instilling in your kids, like the self-esteem that you are instilling in them now to be emotionally intelligent, to be able to express themselves freely, with respect, to feel supported, to think outside the box, to pursue dreams and aspirations that may be a bit foreign to even your comfort zone, or you certainly foreign from your conditioning. Like, just those small ways, if I'm going to run it back just practically on the idea of being a parent, mom or dad, you'd be surprised like how much your the rearing of your children is impacting the universe in a powerful way. So with that being one of the greatest honors anyone can have is to be responsible for literally another human being. And if you're doing that well, or doing it at least to the standards of which you feel proud and secure, and you feel that is in alignment with, your integrity and your supreme self and supreme source, however you submit, then you're really doing God's work right there alone. So certainly anything you do outside of that is just knocking it out the park. So here it is again. Thank you for your service. Salute to you and all that you do. And, grace and Godspeed to just continue on in that same regard. We are really at a push point right here where I'm seeing a lot of spiritualists like losing steam, and I can understand wholeheartedly when you feel like you've been doing a lot, investing a lot, believing for a lot, having faith for more faith and more faith, and the results are turning over slowly but surely, but slowly, and you feel like there's a lot more against you than there is for you. You haven't come this far for no reason. You've done a great work unto yourself and unto the divine that has made a greater impact than you could ever imagine, especially right now in this kind of crossover threshold moment that we're all in collectively, whether we want to be or not. Just stay the course. You're doing amazing. You really are. And if I'm talking to you, and you also know if I'm not talking to you. So if you feel that in your spirit and it's something that you absolutely needed to hear today, hide that seed in your heart and water it with affirmations from now until you can't no more, because the garden's so overgrown that you can't even find the soil to water it anymore. You just gotta pick from the fruits and the stems as you can. That doesn't really make any sense because you always need water, right? But you get the point. That soon, before your eyes, just as accelerated as this progression was in the cards, you're going to see everything you've worked for. You're going to see it. You're at least going to see enough of it to know that nothing you've done up until this point has been in vain, and that there's so much more to look forward to. And it'll be your pleasure to continue to look forward and move forward toward it. I decree and declare it in spirit and in truth. It is so. So thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.